Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets. Interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, welcome to Decorating Pages. I am your host, Kim Wanup. Well, it is coming upon us. It is Emmy voting this week, so here's another episode for you to, hopefully you've watched a lot of these things. I mean, on today's episode with set decorator Kimberly, Leonard, and talking about the Netflix series Griselda with Sofia Vergara's, who does a fantastic job, I think, in the makeup and just dressing it down a little. But I thought the show was great. I love Narcos. I love all of those. I've watched all of those, Narcos Mexico and all that. So we get into it with Kimberly talking about that. And were you scared to get into this? Because I'm pretty sure Narcos Mexico, one of the location managers got killed. I'm pretty sure that happened. But yeah. So another good episode. How are you? How are you doing? It's already, are we in mid-June? I mean, what, can time stop a little and slow it down? It's going too fast. I don't know, life is going too fast. I am prepping a show. We start shooting next week. And I think I'm going to have to take a little break after all of these fantastic Emmy interviews because I got a lot of work to do. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I'm so busy that I just keep on chugging, as a lot of us do in this industry. And it's good to be busy. And sometimes you just need to okay, I got to put this on the back burner because I got to focus. And that's, the way we all juggle it. Every department juggles it differently, and every department head has a, it's kind of a prep time and then like a deadline time and a shooting time. And yeah, so it's all coming together. The sets look amazing. I cannot wait for it to premiere in September and for you to check it out. Dr. Odyssey on ABC. Finally, something my parents will be able to find that I've worked on. Whenever I say oh yeah, it's impeachment, it's on FX, they're like, yeah, we don't get that, or they can't find it, or I mean, Netflix they can find, Netflix they can do, the FX stuff, not so much. I don't know if they watch my stuff anymore. I will tell you this: when I first moved out here, basically every time I talked to my parents or any person in my family, they would say, okay, that's great. When are you coming home? Are you done out there? Are you done? Are you good? Are you coming home yet? And that's kind of how they treated me, that my dreams were just fantasy. And are you done with that? Can you just come the hell home? And so, and I get it, in a sense that it's your kids or it's your niece and your granddaughter, aren't you done? Come on home. Get back here. So I kind of get it, but it was crushing to me at the time. And not really until I worked on Wheel of Fortune and they saw my name in the credits, which they would only do a full crawl, I think once a month, maybe once a week. But not until they saw my name on a credit did it validate that I'm actually doing something out here and working towards something. So always very thankful for the name in the crawl, because it validates them. And they still look for it. They still say oh yeah, I saw that. I saw your name in the credits. As if I am lying to them that I'm trying to take someone else's work. I don't know. But that's my family. Yeah. So let's talk about, I didn't get to watch a lot this week because I was so busy last week with everything. But I did finish up the film National Velvet. And beautiful little story. It's Elizabeth Taylor when she's young. production design by Cedric Gibbons and set decorated by Edwin Willis. And beautiful little cottage and all of these little intricate little Irish and English pieces in there. It's really, really a beautiful little set that they have there. And they're constantly outside with the horse and in the stable, and the horse gets sick, and then they're on a train, like, and they go to the Nationals, obviously. But I liked it. It's a cute story. I thought maybe the boys would watch it with me, but it's a little too much talky for them. Not enough action. So they weren't into it. Beautiful thing. But that leads me to, through the production design film study series that I have been doing, which I have 3 more years to give you, which I'll be doing in a couple weeks, finishing up that. I am reading the book called MGM Style, Cedric Gibbons and the Art of the Golden Age of Hollywood. Now, I'm not audiobooking this because you need to see all the pitches of all of his sets. I think there's actually some National Velvet pictures in here. I've only gotten up to the first chapter, but it's a beautiful book of his sets and the history of MGM and how it got started, and the MGM art department and how all that came about. And so I'm up to, like, I read like his history, and I'm just at the start of MGM when they bought Triangle Studios and formed MGM. But it's beautiful. I can't recommend it enough. The author is Howard Gutner, and a beautiful book for anyone interested in production design. What else? I'm finishing up audiobook, The Boy Who Followed Ripley, because I'm still on that Ripley jag. I don't know about this last book. It's really dragging for me. And in my head, I'm coming up with much better scenarios than I actually is happening. It's a little slow. So, but I have like an hour and a half left. So maybe there'll be a surprise ending that I am not anticipating. But yeah. So let's get to it. In this episode, I chat with set decorator Kimberly Leonard. You can hear previous podcasts about her wonderful work on The Dropout, but on this one, we dive into her latest work on Netflix's limited series Griselda. Kimberly explores the vibrant period design of the 70s and 80s in a whirlwind crime story about the godmother of drug lords, Griselda Blanco. With much of the show being shot on locations, Kimberly brings the decades to life, from the opening scene's sweeping house tour to intense gun battles in a bar set, and then deeply character-driven interiors. So, if you haven't seen it, it's a great story. I think it's only 8 episodes. It's quick, and the sets are fantastic. Also, check out all of the little YouTube clips I've been putting up if you want to follow along and see the sets that we are talking about. So I hope you enjoy. All right, here we go then. Here we go. I wanted to ask you this. Did you watch all of the other Narcos before you got this?
Yeah, I had already watched it. I didn't watch it because of this.
Right.
But it's the kind of content that I like to watch.
Yeah, I love them.
I love a murder.
Yeah.
I love drugs.
I love drugs.
I love, that kind of cartel.
Yeah, and they were so good.
They were so good. And, when I got the call to do Griselda, it started out with like, well, have you heard of this person named Griselda? And I was like, Blanco? Of course. Yeah. I mean, the ride by, the this, the that. I already had all of that information. And I felt like there were a couple of women, particularly, who were not reflected in the original Narcos. So I was glad that this was going to happen. And I've pitched another woman to happen that
nice.
They've done documentaries on. I think
the godmother, that one.
No, she's the good.
Griselda's the godmother. There is another.
This one's like, I think it's Mary Valenzuela, I believe is her name. Nice. Similar time period, just like a different part of Colombia. So that's been my pitch. We'll see how it works out.
I was wondering too, because I usually ask, or like we all know, one of the best parts of doing our job is the research. And like when you're doing like when you're recreating or doing everything, you look like for me like the White House and Clinton and blah blah blah. And yeah, I have so much research.
Yeah.
Like, did you have any research to go off of? Like they didn't. Did she have photos you could look up of her house or anything?
Not no,
No,
there were no
no,
Griselda homes, of
no.
course, to look at, but I mean, for we I was able to find research on houses that are abandoned by drug dealers,
Mm,
because they'll just leave it all. They'll just walk away.
right,
And if you're making $20 million a week, like, the house is nothing. No matter what scale of the house, tigers in it, whatever, they'll just walk away. So I've seen over, I mean, I've been watching these true crime things my whole life.
me too.
So already in the hard drive up here, I had kind of the structure and the feel and the vibe, and I'm air quoting, the Scarface of it all, of
Right,
what that feel was. But then, to layer on the maternal side of Griselda, and to kind of add that in, and that how to reflect that softer side was a little more, that took a little more development, because
right.
we haven't seen a lot of women doing it. And she was probably the first, at least the first that we know of, and at least the first that was kind of pushed forward there. But that private side was very private.
Were you a little scared because that one Narcos location guy got killed?
I was more scared of Sophia's stalkers, actually.
Oh, wow, I didn't even think of that.
The Sophia fans are they're intense.
Oh,
And we both worked on a lot of shows with a lot of amazing people,
yeah,
but
but
and I had never considered this, but people were calling and making fake calls to the art department and the costume department, saying, oh, they had they're a day player on costumes today, and they just need to know the location. They didn't get the call sheet. This kind of stuff was really happening a lot. And that was a little more like, oh, that's super creepy.
that's
Um,
crazy. Did they have that, problem on, like, Modern Family? Does that happen on all of her shit? Do you think? Or did they
Probably now, I would say, and I obviously probably started with Modern Family, but she's amazing. I didn't really have, I wasn't a Modern Family watcher.
Yeah,
Um, besides like working with you next to Modern Family, that
yeah,
was the most I watched it.
on
um,
Bones.
right. But she's such a powerhouse, and between her America's Got Talent, and she's a spokesperson for Foster Grants. She's got a makeup line, she's got a clothing line. I mean, she's worth like $200 million. I mean, she's no joke. And so her fans are coming from everywhere, and she's still so deeply rooted in South America. um,
Mm.
I don't know if you know that she bought the rights to the Griselda story, so this
Oh,
was her baby.
oh,
And her brother was involved in trafficking, and he was killed living this life. And the rumor was that she had actually dated a narco as well. So this was, a thing for her. So these fans, who knows where they're coming from? Who
right.
knows who they are? Who knows where they're coming from? Who knows if the Griselda family, or the Griselda fans are angry? You don't know where it's coming from. But then it got to a point where it just got so busy, you just never thought about it again. Security was tight, and she was very insulated, but that's more what I thought about
Then
than the other stuff.
because you mostly you shot in Los Angeles. You didn't have to
Mhm.
go down to did they do any Mexican did they go down to Mexico? They went to Miami? Was that what I
They,
read?
they never went to Miami. They didn't
Oh,
go to Mexico. They didn't go to Colombia. They didn't go anywhere. We stayed in Los Angeles.
oh, fun. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
San Pedro, Wilmington. You say nice. San Pedro, Wilmington, Redondo Beach
Redondo
is
Beach.
right.
Down the block.
Pomona, lots of Pomona.
Pomona.
And it was a lot, and it was a long time. It was like a just over a year, including the reshoots and additional photography for 6 episodes.
How much prep did you have?
Few months,
A few months. Yeah.
maybe like 10 weeks or something like this. I think
Oh,
eight
that's
to
good.
10 weeks.
That's
It,
nice.
it was a really nice.
It's never enough,
Eh,
but it's nice. That's
we're
nice.
not used to that, right? We're not
No.
used to that prep now, and, so, it was nice to have that and to be able to do even deeper dives into stuff. That was really, really amazing because I love the details. So the longer I have, the more details I
Well,
got.
yeah. Now you're dealing mostly in the 70s and 80s for this era.
Late
Wha
70s, early 80s.
and for sourcing things like that, where did you buy a lot? Did you rent most? Like what was your mix?
Bought a lot, rented a lot. I had it was a combo. I had a lot of stuff made. Um,
Mm,
s One example, like the aquarium, for example, in one of the houses, there were a couple of aquariums, and only one I think made the cut. But over time period, just was part of the passage of time thing.
yeah.
To be able to get those vintage little figurines in there, like with the scuba diver that,
Yeah.
the bubbles come up and that kind of stuff. Well, those kinds of things aren't made and they're not ceramic anymore. So to be able to find that, the clearance and, that stuff, purchase, but to find, the different aquariums, one with chrome, one with wood, one with, no edging, it's glass to glass.
Right.
Those things that people never think of, but that we have to think of because that's our job in our life. It comes down to, can I find it local? Can I get it on eBay? Will they ship it if
Yeah.
I even find it? Oh wait, my guy Greg, I think he's got everything from Kitcraft.
Right.
He'll probably have these tanks in his yard, which is actually where I got the tanks.
Right.
But and then all of those figurines that go in there and having some, you know, uh, modeled after this, but wait, I have to change it a little bit because I can't get clearance on it. So instead of the right arm going up, I'm going to have the left arm coming out, or,
God.
whatever that is. It was like every item was a combination of everything. I had things, I had people doing rounders from Arizona because I would find stuff on Craigslist in Arizona.
Mm.
And I'd say, Chanel, you got to bring it out. I need it by 9 o'clock in Pomona. And, it was really all
Send a
hands on.
truck. You're sending a truck to Arizona?
No, I would have vendors bring it out.
Oh, vendor. Oh, they would bring it out. You would have it. Oh,
I would, I
nice.
would, I would find stuff. I would have vendors go buy it. I would have vendors buy it at an estate sale or whatever it was, and bring it to Los Angeles.
Oh, nice. Oh.
I've sent trucks far, but I haven't broken the state line yet,
Yeah.
Kim. But now you've challenged me.
I'm wondering. I was like, wow, this is a pickup. It's a long haul.
It's a very big pickup envelope.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring your gas card. Yeah.
The furthest we've gone, we've done a rounder to San Francisco on blind spotting, but we haven't broken the state line yet. This, I had other people do it, but whatever it takes, you know how it is.
No, I know. I know. And there it's always like,
Right.
oh, you find this thing like on Cherish or something and you're like, it's perfect. Oh, wait, it's in South Carolina. And then,
Yes.
oh, wait, it's $3,000 to ship. Never mind. Like,
Well, and if it gets here, I'm actually not having good experiences with chairs lately,
no,
but
I never do, honestly. I always find
it's
great
broken.
things,
It,
but I never,
what,
the
nobody ever
shipping.
follows up.
No, the shipping usually kills it. Only if it's on the West Coast. I have had good luck if the items are on the West Coast, it can
Yes, I agree.
happen. If it's on the East Coast, it never works out. I
Yeah,
think the
I totally
farthest I've
agree.
gotten something is maybe Texas, and it has
It,
worked out. But never on the East Coast does it ever work out for me, even if the shipping is like doable. It doesn't really
yeah.
work out
And I'm
timing
always like,
wise.
is it going to get here? Is it going to get here on time? We're like that with everything, but the
Yeah.
further away it gets,
Yeah. You can't chance it.
you can't chance it. And Griselda's bedroom set, her last bedroom set, I will say I found on Craigslist
Mm.
in the middle of the night, and it was like, I don't know, in Sacramento or
When
somewhere
she's
far.
doing meth, the one when she's doing like meth in the
No,
bedroom.
she's doing that. This is more like the Tony Duquette esque,
Oh, 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 yeah, yeah,
the Asian stuff,
yeah, yeah,
the brass.
yeah.
And I was like, I have got to have that. That is coming home for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in touch with the person, and thank God they arranged the shipping and everything, and it was there in like 2 days. I mean, I was ecstatic about it. Because you just never know. And now it's at Warner Brothers if you ever want to use it, by the way.
Ooh, maybe. That's a good tip. That is a good tip.
I had to keep it where I could find it
Yeah,
again.
that's what we do. Like, who wants this? Because I need it again. I might need this
That's
again.
right.
I know that you did a ton of location work on this, I must say, because I recognize some of the locations, but I also like cringed a little bit because the opening shot of this is a complete walkthrough of a totally dressed house, and then that's it. You never see it again. Right? I mean
That's right.
that really opens up how this show is going to go. How many bedrooms that they go through, and how many houses she goes through, and how many places she works, and how many nightclubs they go through, and I mean, how many sets did you have? I mean, it's incredible.
Just keeping the PTSD
Yeah,
at bay.
I know, I know, I know.
Oh,
Deep breaths.
well, we've counted 287 sets in 6 episodes, and
Ooh.
8 of them were built on stage. We
Mhm.
had we had a stage at LA Center, and so the ones that were built on stage, those are easier to talk about.
Right.
There were three motel rooms that were built on stage. One of them was based upon an existing motel in Long Beach, so we did exteriors there and a little bit of the interior, and we recreated that one. And then two were from Fresh.
Mm.
The back room of El Floridito, where one of the big shootouts happens, was actually
Like that bar. It was like a bar where it's a
Ripples.
drug deal that goes wrong.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was the first actually and historic and incredibly important gay club in Long Beach.
Mm.
Ripples, I think it's called Ripples, which just closed recently. So we're so glad to be able. We shot the front there at the location, and then we did the back room on stage, and then we had 3 bathrooms, three where Chucho cuts up a body, and
Uh-huh.
Griselda's bathroom with the band-aid in the beginning,
Oh
that's
yeah.
actually on stage. And I think there was one more bathroom, and then her boudoir bedroom that we just spoke of, um, and the closet and all that, that was
Like
on
big
stage, but everything else was a location. So it's 8 on stage, everything else was a location, and it's like such a
a
blur.
blur. A
It
blur.
just
I know to get that one liner and just to like I know
sticks.
that feeling of looking at the one liner and seeing like okay, okay, and then so I'm prepping and then but you're rapping and then we're
Hmm.
shooting
Hmm.
and but then I have to be
Yes.
okay and then that
Yes.
weekend
Hmm.
okay and then you
Yeah.
just do it.
And then there were I'll give you an example of one day I opened a set in Redondo Beach at the
And one time you said, maybe I'll have a minute and we'll have coffee. And I was like, and I
yeah,
was working at the time too, and I was like, sure, yeah, maybe we can. And then it was like, we never had coffee.
no
'Cause-
minute, because we had 3 sets at the Elks Lodge,
yeah, yeah.
3 sets at the Elks Lodge, a whole walk and talk and a whole driving thing in Redondo Beach. And so when we got all those done, then we had to race to Cerritos
Oh, God.
do the liquor store, which was actually an abandoned Sears, or not abandoned. Yeah, it's in the Cerritos Mall, a defunct Sears, I should say. And then after that got going, then we raced out to Pomona to RSI to get One Mansion
These are
going.
nowhere near each other, by the way. Anyone who knows Los Angeles, or if you have a map right now, you can't even
Crazy,
connect these dots.
crazy, crazy. I mean, it was 3 and 4 in the
That's like
morning, and then
7
getting
freeways.
it's a lot, and definitely a transponder.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, these are, look, these are quality problems. We
Yes.
we juggle we juggle so much,
Yeah.
and
And Netflix doesn't give gas receipts.
Netflix doesn't give gas receipts, and you're just in the zone.
Yeah,
It's just
you're in the
because
zone.
it's almost like, is this how Griselda felt?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like,
Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Netflix doesn't give gas receipts on Shows. I don't know. You were like a TV movie. You might have had a different deal. On shows, they don't give gas receipts.
I, you know what? I can't even.
You probably don't even remember,
I
but
don't even remember.
I'm
I'm
fresh
just
out
so
of it, so I have
grateful.
that note fresh.
I'm gonna go with probably no.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful to be able to juggle all of it and to be able to, you know how it is. You feel good
Yeah.
crossing that day off of the
Oh
one line.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a really great feeling, and to have a great lead and a great
Yes.
crew.
You have to.
You have to and that communication and hey, remember that thing when and make Mitch has got to get his three different pencil sharpeners ready because and I want all those erasers rubbed down and don't forget about the vintage liquid
Yep.
paper and this and that, and to have that shorthand with them and to have everybody in lockstep, and then you're all in lockstep with the other departments. It was a lot,
It's a
and I'm
symphony.
so grateful that it came out as good as it did.
Oh, yeah. Well, it looks fantastic. I think also one of the things that I feel like you lockstepped with was the lighting of this.
Yeah.
And your practicals, I think, were fantastic and the period practicals and everything and the way that they lit this and the emotion that they gave to all of it, I think it's fantastic. Um,
Armando was really great, and once the great thing about Armando too, Armando Salas, the DP, he he's from Miami and he is Cuban,
mm,
and so as was the first AD Oscar Farkas, and Andy Baez, the director, is Colombian. So to be able to bounce stuff off of them as well was
mm-hmm.
incredible, and to be able to harness that and say and tell them, hey, when we were doing the Elks Lodge, this is a great example because you've been there and you know that space. So to make that into it was originally supposed to be like a Joe's Crab Shack in Miami
Right,
that everyone goes to, and slash smokehouse with seafood. If you're on the West Coast,
right, right.
um, and to be able to say yes, it's maroon wood with strelitzias everywhere. This is what it was, and to have this table side service with whatever this Caesar salad being made table side and all of that, and this was Armando and I's first big important conversation because there were about 40 tables to have table lights, and I'm okay with the chords being seen.
Yeah, depending on what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm with
That's
you.
that's
Yes.
that's where we are on the calendar,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we're in 1978, 79, and I think when we were standing there talking about it, on the tech scout, I said, if it's okay for Mr. Scorsese, it's okay for me.
There you go. Mhm.
Because in Casino,
Yeah.
there's that scene, and you can absolutely see on multiple scenes actually, table lamps with cords, and to discuss those details and why it's important to you, and to be able to have people, embrace our craziness, and then in turn we can embrace theirs as well and have that conversation. It was really great, and I learned a lot actually from Armando and a DP friend who's now passed, named Joe Gallo, who would
Mm.
walk me through the phantom camera or whatever, and because I would just say, you know what, hey guys, I don't need fixtures there, forget it, you guys figure it out. We're moving too fast, these two little lamps don't really mean anything, but for Armando and I to be able to get on the phone, and he's telling me, here's why I need them and let's work together, it was really a great opportunity.
Yeah, there is such a wonderful feeling when you can get that bond with a DP and really work together and just know that the fixture is working for both of you
Yeah.
and working for him and working for you and
Yes.
providing what they need and providing what you need.
Absolutely.
It's really nice and some because a lot of times, not a lot of times, but it happens when it doesn't work for one of you. It's usually us. And it looks weird, or it's too bright, or it's not turned on,
Yes.
or, there's so many, and that's so many things happen that is out of our control once we leave the set. It just happens,
Yes. Yes.
which is a shame.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, because for example, in the police station, still fluoros during that period, right? So to be able to have fluoro desk lamps and send them off to have them converted and to still be able to use those. And this is why it's important and it works for you because it's a gooseneck or, whatever that is, to be able to have the time to put those words to that and the collaboration directly instead of a don't worry, it doesn't matter, because I get really disappointed when I hear that from whatever department, whatever your thing is, and don't worry, it doesn't matter, nobody will notice. Well,
No,
we're all paid to notice. We're
yeah,
all
that's why we're
notice
here.
whatever our thing is and contribute to that. And it is important. And I think to have that respect both ways, for me to say, don't worry, I won't have the light fixtures there. It's not that important for me. It is important for him, and it's two-sided. So I was really grateful that he and I were at that point and could do that together.
But look at how you have this photo here of Amakar's pen. Oh, I know I said that wrong. Amakar,
That's okay.
Amakar's penthouse.
You
How
got it.
how you have your fixtures and everything's warm,
Mhm.
but yet the he went rogue and did like the ceiling different. Just but I think that lends to the what's going on
Craziness of what's happening.
in the era. Yeah, but your dressing and your fixtures gives
Mhm.
such a warm tone to the room and a period.
Mhm.
It's so fantastic. Like this
That was
room to me is so fantastic what you've done here.
that was that was one of the first sets that we actually shot, and it was in Dorothy Chandler's penthouse. And I just fell in love with it. I mean, I could move in there. I could move in the whole LA Times building,
And
but that
I know I've shot it so many times. It's
I never shot it.
oh
I that
really? Oh my
never
God.
that
This
was my
you
first time in there. There it is.
I know, but this oh my God, I've been here. Oh my God, I've been here so many times. You made it. I mean, it looks fantastic.
It was absolutely one of my favorites, and I'll tell you, behind I'm leaning in and I'm pointing like you can see me, Kim.
Yeah,
But
good.
behind the burled walnut set with the record player set up there, and where they pulled the liquor from behind there, you can see at the
This
top, very, yeah, ever so slightly, you can see a crack in the door because there was a built-in bar, like
oh
a
here.
closet.
Here.
One behind, one
Oh
back
here
the other way.
here.
Yep, right there.
There. Yeah.
Yes. And so initially, um, there was a thought by the production designer to use that built-in bar because the scene is Amilcar, gets a glass of whiskey or whatever it is, and it was fine. I mean, it's Dorothy Chandler, right? So everything's nice, but it was just like a built-in bar, like we can close this away so you don't ever have to see it. But Amilcar, I mean, he's a drug dealer, right? So it's like we need to have something over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
everything in there, they added that terrarium with the snake, which was a nice, really last minute add.
I
What a
this is
right?
crazy. This is
Right.
crazy. This is crazy. This panther
Why do
here.
you get to use
Where
those?
did
There's
you
three
find
of
it?
them.
I'm just gonna give you a tidbit. I dressed this room for Spoils of Babylon, which was a Funny or Die thing I did 10 years ago, and I used this phone that you
How
have right
hysterical
here
is that?
in this room.
See, it's my Easter egg for you.
But the baby grand piano that you got in here, I don't know how you got it up the elevator. Kudos.
Thank God for the crew.
But this whole set, this gigantic head, like everything about this set is so extravagant and over the top, but it works. Like, and the way you divided up the room and the way that you divided the room with the rugs and everything, it all works. Like, just kudos.
I
Because it's a
fell in
very
love.
odd room. Like,
It's odd.
it's sunken down in the middle of it, but not really the middle. So you have that, like, where you put the piano is great to give it, like, define that space. It's
It's odd.
great.
I mean, yeah, my initial pitch was to have that office in where the dining room was,
Mhm.
because in my mind there would be more people coming to do business than to eat dinner.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
And then, after 400 conversations, it came to this, and I was really happy with the way that turned out.
Yeah, this set's fantastic.
And
And
of course,
and also you have one of when it's shot at night and it's
Mhm.
so and it's dim, and the reflections that they get off the blinds are great too, and your practicals. They're great.
Yeah, I loved that set, and I loved that location. I mean, I love them all, but this one was the first like moment
Yeah.
for me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great it's a great view downtown. It's the abandoned LA Times building, which is a sin.
Mhm.
But we've all shot there a million times, so yeah.
And now I shot there. I was really, really, and I got a tour of the whole LA Times, which my
Yeah.
my father was general manager of the Herald Examiner. So I've been in the Herald
Ah,
Examiner
oh
LA
yeah.
Times behind the scenes. So I felt like a total infiltrator.
Yeah, you were a spy.
It was like sleeping with the enemy, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh man. I've done both. Well, the examiner's gone now though, right? Is it gone? Or is it just
Partially,
half of it's gone?
partially.
Half of it's gone.
It's like half condos, half whatever now.
Right. But we all got an opportunity to shot
All
there.
down
I I got to shoot there when they still had the factory in the back and you could see all the machinery and everything. It was so cool. And
LA
like,
Times still has it, and you walk in there, you can
yeah,
still smell the ink.
it's so
Love that
weird.
stuff.
It's so
Yeah.
crazy
It's
that it's
sad and
just
crazy.
sitting there. It's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then the other set that so the location of the nightclubs, where was that?
The Mutiny?
Yeah. Is that
The
big in that?
Mutiny is the Queen Mary.
What? Really? What?
I know nobody everyone's always so shocked. The Mutiny, everyone did such an amazing job, and the
Why?
concept
Why did
from
you have to go to the Queen Mary for that?
well, they decided they didn't want to build it for the cost.
Oh,
And so we converted that giant ballroom in the Queen Mary, which I hadn't shot at forever.
I've never been there. There now that you got me. I've never shot at the Queen Mary.
Okay, so yeah, it took a minute, but the concept of it came together great, and it shocks people that that's the Queen Mary. You know, they have these grand ballrooms, right? So um, the art department duplicated one bar that they had, and so we had the nice balance in the room, and I had that 4-foot gold mirror ball made.
Right.
So that'll give you the scale if you ever see that to know that that's actually 4 feet round, which is insane. And
Who
the
made
trust.
that for you?
Oh, my secret guy where I got the fish tanks. I
Oh,
mean,
fish tanks
he,
and disco balls? That guy's a gem.
he absolutely anytime you need him. But and he hand glued every single one of those things on
He's
because
got time.
he had time, and we paid.
Yeah, yeah,
It is
well, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
did
yeah.
that
Time
scale,
and
but
money.
and it was just so fun to be able to do ostrich feathers there,
Yeah.
as because we shot there over a week. And again, the mutiny, that's such a key concept in Miami drug trafficking at that time and all of that. That was the spot. And our dear friend Carol Kelly,
Oh, Carol
luckily
Kelly.
I had her as a resource because, as you know, she's from Miami.
Right.
And she worked at the courthouse preset decorating life. She worked at the courthouse across the street from the mutiny, and they would go to the mutiny to have cocktails after work.
So wait a minute.
And
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So did you know that? And you called her
well,
up and said,
I,
"Hey."
I I knew that she worked at the courthouse, of course, and so I knew
Oh,
she
of
was from
course.
Miami. So I was leaning on her for time period references and
Wow. Good
conversation
job.
about how did it feel, what did it look like, and of course she speaks our language. And then I never dreamed that Carol Kelly of all people would be hanging out at the mutiny. I mean, put that together. And she would say that she would go to the mutiny with fellow court working people. And it occurred to her one day after going to the mutiny many, many times for probably many years that she was sitting across the bar from somebody who had just been indicted in the court with her just hours before, and she decided that this probably wasn't somewhere she needed to be going anymore. So, but to have her to be
That
able
sounds
to
like
come,
Carol.
it's so Carol. That's
It's
why I
so
can
Carol.
explain it to you and you totally get it.
Yeah.
But to have that
I gotta
there
call
weren't,
her.
because it was such a secretive place, and there were very few photos of that place. There's like one with Rick James, and one where where we were able to get the shape of the champagne glass, the proper period correct shape of it, and maybe one or two others. But the Scarface Club was based off the mutiny, and at least they had the luxury of having it at that time. But we really had nothing. We had the card, the mutiny card with the pirate with the little
Mm-hmm.
uh, kerchief on still, and so we were able to use that logo and put it on bar napkins. But the rest of it, you know, there was a suite where Arturo, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but where Arturo and Griselda went. Um, I just knew that it was so outrageous and over the top of what was happening at the mutiny that I could do anything. We could absolutely do anything. So the actual club was at the Queen Mary, and Arturo's suite, we'll call it, was upstairs at the Biltmore, which is that beautiful suite.
The suite,
And
yeah.
yeah, beautiful, but it looks nothing like it when you see it
Right.
on camera in Arturo with, there were two Chippendale love seats that I had recovered in, purple patent leather crocodile.
Yeah.
You could just be outrageous because the cocaine, the excess, the money, it all of it, it was just everything was unbridled. You could just let it all go, and once you embrace that you can be unbridled, you can have things
Yeah.
like size gold lions in the background, and
I
it just
know.
starts to make sense after a
Well,
while.
it's like her office that you do with the two big
Food
photo
dogs.
dogs. Oh my
Yeah.
God. They're so fantastic.
Well, for me, it was completely logical. The food
Yeah.
dogs are
Here.
palace, and this is her palace, and this was a time when all Asian things, no matter what Asian it was, they all Asian together. It didn't. It was just anything Asian was in, and all at the same time for some reason. And this was that period, and how outrageous! They were probably real gold in her office.
Right. They probably, I mean, yeah.
She's making that much money. Her linens were all silk in my mind.
Of
It's just
course. Well, of course they were. If
she
not,
goes,
if they weren't made out of, $100 bills sewn together, if they weren't.
right? She's having them hand spun somewhere under the house in a basement.
I always get so like I know all these projects like romanticize how like the money that just comes in and you get so much money and it always goes wrong.
Mhm.
But then it's like, well, where did all the money go? You're making all this money, where'd it go? And like with Pablo, like he buried all that money and then they couldn't find the money.
They're
And
still looking.
yeah, it's like
They're still
wow.
looking.
Or I always love that scene in Blow where they have all the money in the house and he's like carrying it room to room and like can't fit anything more in here or like we're gonna need a bigger house or like
Gotta buy a new house.
and then they just don't have anywhere else to put it like
I can't even I can't even imagine making at a low number $1 million a week
yeah,
during that time period is so wild of a concept.
cash.
And cash, and for a woman to be doing it, Pablo Escobar, the series opens with that quote of Pablo Escobar saying,
Yeah.
the only
The
man he
woman
was
was afraid.
ever scared of was a woman. It was Griselda Blanco. And when she met him, because he worked for her, um, he was stealing cars. He wasn't, this wasn't even his bag. This wasn't even
Right.
his thing. And she trained him, and then he subsequently, trained El Chapo, and this whole um lifestyle was also normal. I couldn't wrap my head around that type of money. I mean, you and I are talking about gas receipts
I know.
earlier,
And we don't even
right?
I don't
Let's
even get
put
them.
that in context, right? I mean, and this is $1 million a week in the 70s and 80s. It's
Yeah.
just really quite so nothing is off limits. Nothing is off limits. And once you're able to, and luckily, we have the gift of being able to be allowed to do this. Once you open your mind to nothing is off limits, and then you can sell that to other people who are
Yeah.
like, I don't know,
Yeah.
these giant food dogs seem like a lot, and it's like
No.
work.
Yeah,
This
the
is
excitement of it. I actually think it's better, like what I was asking before about the research, when you don't have the research, when you don't have like, well, like you were saying, like we found a picture of the glasses. Like to me, like I would think like, oh fuck, we gotta get those glasses. This is the only research we have. We gotta at least match these glasses, and then we can go from there. That I think as a decorator, you kind of go with like, oh, we gotta get this.
well,
But when you don't
to
have,
know
when
Rick
you,
James was holding the glass. I mean, my
well, then you got, yeah, well, Rick's got it. You got to do.
on that, I was ecstatic about that. You
But
know,
when you don't have the picture and you can have the freedom to do and to create and everything like you're saying and just go with it, and you
yes,
know you know and you can sell, like they were making $1 million. They could get this. They could get anything they want. We
yes.
have no
Any-
limits here.
Anything at any time from any place to them or wherever they needed it to be, there was nothing that they couldn't achieve, and nothing. I imagine that even now that can't be achieved, and even easier because of electronics.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but to in the beginning, to go from, she and her boys are sleeping in the bedroom of an apartment of a
Yeah.
friend of theirs, to
That
you know,
house at the end. Where was the house at the end? Where was that at?
Long Beach.
That was in Long Beach. That was
Casa,
nice.
Casa Oceana. And the crazy thing about it was, when we were dressing Ripples, that we quick broke off for a tech scout, just quick do that.
Yeah, because you had time.
And we went to Casa Oceana, and I said, "Oh my God, I know this Casa Oceana because it was on a real estate reality show that I watch, and it's period correct. This is so exciting. It's perfect for us. Gosh, I'm so glad that it didn't even occur to me." And I walked into the original owner. They had interviewed the original owner on this real estate show, and the place was beautiful, early 80s. I mean, it was perfection. And when we walked in, it was new owners, and they had updated
Oh,
a
you bitch.
little bit. I know they did. Let me just say, they did it really in a very nice way.
Right.
It's not something I would have done, but I had already had my mind in, this original form of the house. It's a big, beautiful piece of property right on the beach in Long Beach, and I had seen drone shots of it and everything. When you see drone shots of it, you think that the yard is a park, and that's that's how that's how big this house is. And the house was just absolutely beautiful, and what an honor to be able to shoot there
Oh, oh God. That's
and change
awesome. And change it. Yeah. But that
and
whole
change
pool area and like you could see like the breezeways and like I could see what you mean by like it looks like a
incredible.
park. Yeah.
Incredible. Just the whole house was incredible, and then that tied in obviously with her bedroom we did on stage.
Yeah. I mean, you did a tremendous amount of work on this. And I think it sounds like you had a lot of fun. As much as work as it is. It sounds like you did have fun with it.
I think Griselda, we definitely had fun. It was really a challenging project for so many ways and so many reasons, but we've done things on that show that we're not ever going to be able to repeat. I mean, how often do you get to put the food dogs in a
I
house?
know, no, I know.
It's not.
What was your favorite set?
The Palm Beach estate, the
Mm.
kind of dilapidated one. I'm always between Amilcars, which we just talked about, and the Palm Beach. The Palm Beach one, I'm really a fan of dilapidated and defunct and scary and all of that. And that Palm Beach house, which was actually originally built in the 20s in Bel Air for a Fox executive, that one was, yes, this is the one. Um, it was a very odd layout, and it had a very odd feeling, and it had nothing in it. It had like weight equipment in it or something like that.
Well, this is a scary before picture. This is like,
Right.
but this is, but this happens all the time when we go to locations, and it's
Yes.
like, where is someone gonna like come out of a closet and like shoot us? Like, is
It was that place. It was that place
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
And in the middle of Bel Air, like, who would even think that this would exist, and overgrown with vines, and
And then
then we turned it into that, right?
And then I know I mean the wallpaper always does wonders.
Mm-hmm.
But this it also made the room look so much bigger. Look how much bigger it makes the room look. I mean, I know the camera's making the perception bigger too, but like look at that. Look, and that ceiling.
The ceiling is
Oh,
absolutely
that
incredible,
ceiling is amazing.
incredible. And I chose not to go with window treatments because the bold choice of, basically she's kind of like a squatter there, right? So
Right.
this is squatter is extreme, but
Wait,
this
did
is
they
an in
take your
between
lamp out?
hideout.
Oh, they took your lamp out. Why'd they
I
do
I
that?
know. I
Ugh.
Well, no, it's back there.
Well, no, this one.
Yes. Oh, yes. That one was that
They
was an offender.
they took it
Uh,
out.
It was an offender.
No, they
Um,
wouldn't.
but they didn't remove the oil lamp in the back corner, which anytime I can get
This
those in. How often do you get to use the rain lamp?
right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Beautiful.
on, no less.
Beautiful.
Um,
I
but
love
to
the
not have the
palette.
window treatments, is like this is how dire it was and how last minute it was that scariness of having open windows where people could possibly peek in and see the operation and all of that. These are all these conversations, right?
But
And to me,
also
this
that your DP didn't want treatments. You know, that's the thing. They usually always want treatments. They always want,
conversation, right?
yeah. No, that's great. Oops. Yeah. And then before of this, look at these
Terrifying.
floor to ceiling windows are gorgeous. And look at the
That
chandeliers.
literally, if you open those windows, you jump right into the pool,
Ooh.
which was it was a really odd place, but really in its own kind of odd way it works. I mean, for me, in my mind, this is a place that like a Palm Beach person lived in, and maybe some kind of a widow, and they had just put sheets over it and left it for 20, 30 years and hadn't decorated for
Right.
however long.
Right.
And it just stopped, and maybe people checked in on it every now and again and watered a plant or two, but it's just stopped.
Yeah, it's stuck in time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
Achieved.
I still think
I
that
mean, the
counts.
artwork's great. Is that where did you get the artwork?
Modernica,
Mm.
or I'm sorry, Gillenroy.
Gillenroy, sorry.
It was Modernica then, and Hollywood Studio Gallery, both
Their new location's great. If you've ever
incredible. I
yeah.
just went this week. Incredible.
It's a football field. It's
It's
great.
incredible. And now to unearth some new things
Oh,
is just
it's oh, so
amazing.
so fantastic. Yes. I love that lamp. Look at that lamp.
The lamps were as tall as us, Kim.
I
They
love it.
were they
Why
were
can't we
so
have lamps like why don't they make lamps like that anymore?
I don't know,
It's
but I got
expensive.
such great lamps from Urban Americana, and just I would find them at
Mm.
like the Palm Springs Vintage Market and grab
Yeah.
them all the way back. And the lamps were a lot of fun on this show.
Beautiful. Yeah, that is a fun set there. Gorgeous.
That's and she set the money on fire in the pool,
Yeah. She's nuts. Why
and
would you set
cocaine
money on
and
fire? Why would you do that?
money and cocaine. She didn't care what was in there, but set it all on fire. It was actually cocaine, but money thrown in there as well. But when you can do that, and
Yeah.
you have a hundred guys crowded around you that are all working for you in the late 70s, early 80s. Amazing.
I guess. I mean, I'd still like fake it as ones and be like, just put the hundreds
It
on the
wasn't a
top.
lot of money. It was mostly cocaine, but the excitement of it all. And when you have that to burn, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, this is my world.
It was it was a quick watch for me. I was just like zooming through it. It was a quick watch. I was bummed that it wasn't a longer
I
series.
I wanted more episodes too. I think there's who knows, maybe they'll come back and do a season 2. That would be so
Well,
exciting.
I
And all
think
the
it
way.
abruptly ended, kind of.
I know
I
there's
was
there were more opportunities there,
yeah.
and for those who don't know, she was killed by her own style. They never really got into the ride by
Yeah.
shooting. That was her invention, the ride by motorcycle shooting with two people on the dirt bikes. And because she said, God, a drive by shooting is dumb because then you get stuck in traffic. You got to be on a dirt bike with two people and the driver and then one person on the back, and that's exactly how she got killed. So, I'd love to do a season two and explore more of the post prison. What
Yeah.
did she, post prison, and
It was
how did that all unfold?
it was also very like, oh, I mean, I'm giving it away here, people. So if you don't want to hear it, just pause. Like, she's in jail at the end, and then the cop who had, which was ridiculous to me, always had sunglasses on her head. That was the worst part of this whole thing. Um, she comes in to tell her, hey, this son died, and this son died. So have a nice day. Bye. Like, it was like, oh, you could have had some sort of like, not that you and I want to do a montage, but you could have had some sort of
We,
like,
we did have a montage.
oh, you did? Did we see
We
that?
did.
I,
No,
oh, I was gonna say, I don't remember seeing it. I
we
thought she
did.
just said
We
it.
had a montage. We came back and did additional photography. Had the
Oh,
montage ready to rock.
see?
So maybe we're gonna do a season two. I'd love to do it, but that footage does exist. And look, we can't. I'm going to say there were probably 20 sets, and I'm like, oh, what happened to
Oh,
the?
oh,
And
that sucks.
that's that idea and that concept went away for some reason. I don't know. I'm not in those meetings, but the footage exists. The story exists. So who knows? Maybe they're going to, you know, fluff it out into something else. Maybe we'll get a Griselda additional footage or something like that.
Well, I'm sure Sophia would get back in that makeup.
Oh, I mean, she was amazing. I mean, she was doing 17, 18 hours a day.
Oh God.
We were impressed.
Wow. Good for her. She's a worker. I
Incredible.
I
She's
applaud
incredible and
that.
in her zone.
We're
She was.
we're right there with her, so I applaud her. I'm with her.
I did too. I was like, well, we're going to see how this works out and how long this can go on. She never complained, showed up, did it, and handled her business. She was amazing.
That's awesome. Well,
Mhm.
it sounds like a great project. I mean, voting opens in 2 days. Here we go. It's Emmy
Fingers
voting time. This is
crossed.
why we're here. So
Yeah.
I hope I know so many people who have watched it, and I it's on Netflix, and Netflix is pumping out all of their pieces. I saw all of the FYCs and everything, and I know that they're having one for Griselda. I saw it on the schedule, so
Hmm.
hopefully we'll be
Fingers
up there.
crossed. There's so much great content out
I
there, and I
know.
think all of the projects all the time always drive me. I mean, I think of you any time I do the White House, I'm like, oh, I gotta live up to Kim's White House. You know,
Oh, the White House.
and I hope we all drive and inspire each other. And
Oh,
this one
absolutely.
hit a lot of notes. So fingers crossed. The competition is definitely it gets deeper and deeper every year as the content gets better and better, and the streamers get better, and they allow us to do what we love to do.
Yeah,
So I'm
so
glad I'm
true.
glad people seem to appreciate it. It's actually been one of Netflix top shows.
Yeah,
It for one for like 6 weeks. It was absolutely crazy and shocking, and what a beautiful surprise.
yeah. I mean, everyone I know watched it, so everyone I know
I might
loved
watch
it.
it again now.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, I would like to watch. I don't know if I rewatched. I would rewatch Narcos. I would like to rewatch all of them and
Yeah, I mean,
see.
again, I'm really hoping that with Griselda that Eric Newman will consider writing the Mary Valenzuela, and I
I'm
mean
sure
we've
there's
had
more. There's
a
always
lot of
more.
El Chapo,
Yeah,
but there's so many other players like Rio and Arturo and
right,
who made these. They're basically like the lead person
right,
the
right, right.
organization, right? And so I'm hopeful that we can even do a deeper dive into that. And again, not to glorify it, but you to be able to see how these organizations can come together with the minds and the inner workings of how people process this stuff, and you deal the hand you're dealt. And I think
Yeah.
that's the story, right? Is you deal the hand you're dealt with, and she having kids and exploring that side, it's been really quite a great challenge. So I hope we get to do a deeper dive on more characters. The Narco series is amazing, and Andy and Eric to trust us and to say just do it. It just, you know, what a stroke of luck to be able to come upon the project. It just,
No, it's fantastic.
I loved it. And you know, there's nothing more that I love than a food dog by a desk.
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. Well,
Thanks for having
congratulations.
me.
It looks fantastic, and I loved watching your work, so thank you.
Thanks for having me, Kim.
Yes. I am going to run and take some boys to some baseball. Hopefully it's not raining. So happy to speak to Kim about this project, because I mean, you heard, like, this is the way it is. Like, it's tons of work, it's locations, it's, you know, a lot on set deck, and coordinating with the designer on how to get this look, and she did just a phenomenal job on this. Kim and I go way back. We met on the show Bones. She came on as a buyer for me and quickly then started decorating. She's fantastic, and I love keeping in touch with her and checking in with her, because she's also very much like me in the sense of we can talk realistically about things and not pussyfoot around. So it's always nice, and she helped me out in this past couple months in negotiating, and I'm grateful to her for that. So congrats to Kim on the project, and I hope that it is recognized, because there's a ton of work there, and just beautiful sets. So yeah, in tomorrow's episode I have Deborah Riley, production designer, who did Game of Thrones and is now on the 3 Body Problem. So that was a very interesting show to watch, and just interesting to talk to her about these sets. So I hope you check that out and got an earful today. I am your host, Kim Wannop, for Decorating Pages. Later.